I'm going to address the elephant in the room. I left my helmet in my dad's car, he took it to work, so I've got to wear an old helmet today. It just happens to be fluorescent yellow. But good morning, welcome back to another video. I'm going to call it right now. I don't know how much riding content I'm going to be able to get today. Basically, I've got a 3-hour ride, but the entire, I've got to do the whole ride. No efforts or anything, just got to do the ride at like 250 watts, so upper zone 2, it's just pressing on the whole time. It's just at that uncomfortable pace. So I don't know how much riding content we're going to be able to capture, but when I get home, I'm going to talk, I'm going to get into detail about why I've got my Colnago back. Still currently riding the Cube as my winter bike, but yeah, I will explain everything when I get home. Currently just ruining my average speed by riding through the city. But today, we are riding to the valley. It's my first time riding here in like way over a month, so I'm real excited. And it kind of justifies riding through Preston. All right, let's crack on. That is 1 hour and 32 kilometers at 233 watts. So far so good, and we're into the good stuff now. We're out of the city, we're into the Forest of Baldwin. This is what we came for. Today's one of those rare mid-December days where the temperature spikes a little bit, the sun comes out, we got blue skies, not a lot of wind around, and it's even warm enough today to take off my gloves. And they're not cold. I love to complain about the weather, so on the rare occasion that it plays on our side, I'm gonna praise it. That is 2 hours at 2:39 average, 1 hour to go. Alright, that's 3 hours there, just lapped it. Mistimed this route a little bit. I'm about 10 minutes from home, but it's not actually too much of a bad thing because it allows me now to have like a 10-minute. I did up to the 3 hours at the power I was doing and then just lapped it, and now I'm going to use this 10 minutes just to cruise home and cool down a little bit because my legs, they were starting to hurt towards the end there. But rides like that, I split them up into 3 different sections. So like first hour, second hour, third hour. And I always like to ride them at negative splits. So by the end of the ride, I wanted to average somewhere between 240 and 250. So I did the first hour at like 233. Built up the second hour to like 239 watts. And then the final hour, I finished up there at 243. So it was bang on what I wanted to do. I do actually quite enjoy that type of session where you're not on the limit yet, you know we're near the limit, but you're just pushing on and just keeping on top of the gear. It takes a lot of mental focus because the moment you stop, or the moment you stop thinking about holding the power, naturally your power starts to drop down to like, well for me it's dropped down to like 200, 220. So always having to keep on top of it. Glad I decided to wear overshoes today. It might have been sunny, but mine it was filthy. Hello. What are you doing? Come on. Okay, so that was 3 hours, just over 3 hours today. Now, in yesterday's video, I left you guys in a little bit of a cliffhanger. And that is the return of my Colnago C60. My sister was on Zwift last night, hence her bike being on the trainer. I think it was one of her first sessions on Zwift. She loved it. Perhaps we can get her doing some Zwift racing. But yeah, back on topic. Like I knew I was going to get the comments that I got. Some of you were like, "Wait, you returned? Did you not return that back to your team? I thought you returned that bike like 2 months ago." Yes, I returned this bike. This bike has spent the last 2 months in the service course down in Cornwall, but I informed you guys that I was getting a winter bike sorted, and I was getting a winter bike sorted. I was getting a winter bike through my team, a winter bike that I would have used throughout November, December, and then in January and February I head to Calpe. As a collective, we decided that it would be better that if I continued to just use my Cube whilst I was here in the UK, because it's only going to be like the second half of December by the time the bike arrived anyway. But as a trade-off, and instead I will get my C60 back, my 2018 race bike. That way I can take this bike over to Calpe with me and train on it, because it was announced last week that we're staying on Colnago next year, so I can ride that bike, and it's going to be a very similar geometry to the bikes that we're going to be riding next year. I just think that's a better option than getting a completely new winter bike and having to ride that in Calpe. It's going to be a different geometry to my race bike. So I'm not going to ride this outside, obviously, in the winter in the UK. I'm going to save this, I'm going to get it all ready. And then I head to Calpe for quite a long time in the new year. And that is the bike that's going to be coming with me. I hope all of that made sense. Did that make sense? Did it make sense or no? I don't know. And I must say, for a bike that I've raced on all season, this thing is in pretty good condition. What's that quote? Look after your equipment and your equipment will look after you, or something like that. A few days ago I posted on my Patreon feed asking the guys, the Patreons, to give me some questions, and I said that I was going to answer them in a vlog, so I feel like today's a good day to round out the vlog with the questions. We got a few questions here that I want to get through. First question is, what make and model of bike would you recommend for someone starting out in cycling? Honestly, it doesn't matter. The main thing is when you start out that you've got a bike and the bike fits you pretty well. That's the only thing that really matters. The make, the model, whether it's carbon, whether it's aluminium, really doesn't matter. I would say don't spend anything more than sort of £500 on your first bike, because there's no point. If you start cycling for a month or two and realize you don't enjoy it as much as you thought you would do, you haven't spent £2,000 on a carbon Colnago. Don't spend a lot of money. Buy a branded bike. Don't just buy some bike from Halfords or something. Buy a branded bike, but just the bottom of the line. An aluminium bike with a relatively cheap group set. It's not going to last you forever, but it will certainly get you going. Question number 2 is, what's wrong with your car? I have, for those of you that don't know, I have a Polo GTI. It's been in for service. It's been in getting a few repairs done because I've decided that I'm gonna sell that car. The reason I'm going to sell that car is because I bought it last year, and I bought it at a time when I didn't really have the money to buy it. I kind of just impulsively bought the car. I realised that I don't need to spend that amount of money on a car. So the plan is to, fix it up, give it a service, and then sell it. 2019 is going to be the year of smart choices. Probably not. What is your biggest strength in the bike, and what do you think could be your biggest area for improvement? I'd probably say my biggest strength is 1 to 5 minute climb. It's not too long a climb, but it's still a climb, and it's more about power than just out and out power to weight. I think that's my biggest strength at the minute, but my biggest area for improvement definitely is repeated effort. So sprint, recover, sprint, which is quite an important thing to have in racing. You can attack and go with a breakaway, and then suddenly you're trying to ride hard in that breakaway, and that's where I always fall flat, and that's the biggest thing I need to work on, I think. Do you think an amateur will benefit enough to buy a power meter? I think nowadays in 2018, completely. Power meters are that inexpensive. I was in Girona last weekend. I was there with Robic, and the bikes that they supplied me with had a 4iii power meter. That power meter was perfect. It worked the whole time. I had no problems with it. The battery went dead one day, but there was no problems. There was no problems in terms of dropouts or spikes or random data or anything. One of the days I rode with my teammate and my power was almost the same as his, and those power meters, I think if you look on Google, they're around £300. So they're that inexpensive. I'd recommend that everyone gets a power meter. It's just so much easier to quantify your riding. It's so much easier to pace yourself. One of the biggest issues that I find with people, with newer cyclists, is they smash it up the climbs, and they're knackered at the top, so they take the top to recover and then don't pedal on the downhill. Whereas a more effective way to ride a climb is back off the power on the climb, but continue to pedal over the top and on the descent. And without a power meter, this type of riding is very, very hard to do just on feel. Alright, that'll do it for today's questions. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, please drop a like, and I'll see you in the next one.